All right. Looks like we are live. January 15th, 2019. Good evening, everybody, to the second PM edition of my daily live draw. Although the drawing's already done, I basically ink it here, so could be the daily live ink, the DLK instead of the DLD hashtag. Hello, C. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're from. I forgot now. Forgive me, but welcome. Nice to see you here. Uh, Ron should be coming sometime as soon as he can. So I'm going to go ahead and get started inking on this Harlequin. And I'm gonna actually use a template on some of these little bally things that she has on her suit. Usually I freehand them, but right now I'm just gonna go ahead and give them a little template action just to kind of make sure they're the way I want them. Let me know I guess the sound is okay. Sound and video must be set okay. When I can afford it and get the upgraded equipment, microphone, I think, and I think the camera's okay. I think I gotta eventually figure out a better layout on my desk, although this one seems to be actually fairly good. I think it's from what I can tell in doing a little homework by rewatching these back. Now sometimes I do watch the full replay. Other times I don't have time, so I will skip around because I do remember certain things that happened, and I just want to make sure that you all are getting a good experience with the equipment I have right now. The microphone, it's the main thing I'm hoping will help the sound quality. But I am using my headset, so that's always a plus. 2 likes already. Hey, appreciate those. Love it. Thank you, people, for reaching out with that thumbs up. And for anybody keeping count like me, I believe I am at 145 subscribers now. So looking for that. I think I'll get it. I hope I will. I'm looking for that magic 150, which was kind of a goal number at the beginning of the month when I was at 120. Needed 30 subscribers, as you know, one a day, and on definite pace to do that and perhaps surpass it. 200 would be phenomenal, but hey, I'll take it slow and steady. I'll build the subscribers slow and steady. So, if this drawing will stay up, got a little Harlequin, like I said, going here tonight. We are doing Batman rogues and I guess villains and what have you this week. I like Harlequin. I like the classic one here that Bruce Timm imagined. So that's the one I'm gonna do, and I hope that you all will have a good time watching me ink it. And if you have any questions during the stream, please be sure to go ahead and ask in the chat. And when I when I raise my head up to look what's going on, I will try to answer any question pertaining to comics that maybe I've worked on, and what I'm doing. If you have any questions about the tools I'm using, or preference, what I'm doing in general, feel free. I just realized I kind of sounded like an airline pilot. So wheels are now up. Please stay buckled until till we reach our cruising altitude. And then we will take the seat buckle light off so that you can feel free to move about the cabin. Putting it back on only if we encounter any rough air. That was a Micron 08. But what I did was I gave it a little bounce by going around the template. You probably saw me a couple of times, and I moved it just a bit and pushed down on it so that it gave a thick and thin line instead of just a dead weight. Got to have a little bounce to it. Got to have a little weight on it. So hopefully, hopefully that answered your question. That was an easy one. Not that we're testing each other. I understand, but feel free to ask. Let's see. In fact, what am I? I think I'm using a 01 now. Yeah, a 01 for just getting the eyes in, a little bit of detail work. So I'll use a little finer one. They have a 005, but for what I'm doing on this, in this area at this size, it might be a little too fine. Dr. Kevin, good evening. There you go. Dr. Kaz says it right. Please fasten your seatbelts and return your tray table to the upright position. It's Harlequin, people. Harley time. How are you today, Dr. Kaz? I am doing well, even though I had to go have some blood drawn, getting my blood work done. Got a doctor appointment on Friday. Hopefully everything will be good there because I have not been on my healthy eating plan for about 3 months now, at least 3 months. So do I expect changes? Yes, but even before I went on my healthy eating plan, my blood work was, as my doctor described it, incredibly boring, and people would pay to have blood work like mine. So hopefully a little bit of cheating isn't going to move my numbers so much that he gets angry at me. And if it does, I plan on going back on my healthy eating plan. So no problems. Well, hope no problems. I actually want to say thank you for. I went ahead with 7 for a couple reasons. I thought starting at 6 last night, everybody on the East Coast is maybe in the same boat as me, and that's right at dinner time for most people. It is. Um, I had no dinner last night, but that's okay because, like I said, I had to give blood, so I just figured I wouldn't didn't really eat a lot yesterday. I had some almonds. I had 2 Quest bars, very low carbs and glycemic index on those. Actually, I think I said that wrong, but 1 gram of sugar per bar. Wanted to keep my test from getting any sugar spikes. Although now it'll probably read low. Yeah, you can't win for losing. I remember I had not had blood work done in 10 years. In 2015, I had blood work done. The last time I'd had it done was 2005, and I just knew something was probably lurking just because I was overweight, not watching what I ate, and getting older. So had the blood work done. It came back. That's the one where he said it was incredibly boring. And every test since then has just been fine. So I've been very blessed in that. But anyway, so I got to thinking today, I could do 7 because if these sell it just the inked version, they're done. If they don't sell well, if they sell the color, then I'm in for a little more time, which is fine. I could have went longer last night, but it was nice to be able um, to stop when I did and go because yesterday was crazy. So anyway, 7 o'clock just seemed better. So I thought I'd give it a go. Hopefully that was understood because I just realized after I said it that I kind of ran through that last part fairly quick. I believe Ron will be showing up sometime, Dr. Kaz. I'm not sure when though. He's very good at keeping me informed on what's happening in chat, uh, which allows me to focus attention, my head here instead of looking back and forth. So that's a good thing. This is one of those times where I just am warming the hand up with the pen. I usually don't do as much pen work, although I like drawing with a pen. I like inking with a pen, drawing. Um, Getting into facial details. Um, um, this section here is like a clump of lashes, so it's going to be filled in black. Um, Above her eyes is just like a shadow, like the lid, but it's lines. Let me see if I can. It'll look better once I get it scanned in. Um, So it's basically like a shadow, like the lid above her eye, and it's going to go into her mask. I can go in, I can go across it because this mask is going to be black anyway. So see, was it Shara or Kara? Your name, see? So this is going to get a black anyway, so I don't have to be so precise with it. In fact, I should have a brush out doing that, but it's going to detail the teeth. And since unlike last night when the penguin had some crookedy, craggedy teeth, I want Harlequin to have some nice, nice straight, pretty teeth. Then I'm going to use my pen just to make sure I get my drawing nice. Okay, Cara, like Irene Cara. If you're, well, I won't ask your age, but if you're old enough to remember Irene Cara, I know you were on my Facebook page, so thank you for that too. Which, by the way, all my information, social media links are down below. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, it's all down there. You might have to scroll down a little bit, but yeah, it's there. My website is highly neglected right now. It hates me. Well, thank you, Dr. Kaz. Once this mask gets filled in, I think they'll actually even look nicer. So yeah, I went home. I picked my son up from school. He gets out at 3:20, and actually, I tell you that time went by fast because I had this drawing sketched out loosely, and I needed to trace it over onto my paper here, and so did that. Got to talk to him a little bit, hang out. He wanted to ride his bike, but didn't have a chance to let him get out there today. I am trying to work my schedule around a lot of stuff going on in life right now. And this sounds horrible, but I will say it's hard to find time for everything. And I say that sounds horrible because family is wife and son are most important. And everything else can wait. However, sometimes we don't quite get our priorities set, do we? Or we neglect certain things. So I'm trying to be as sensitive to everyone's needs as possible, including my own, because you got to take care of yourself. It's not a selfish thing. It's doing the right thing. All right. So I went ahead on my Harlequin, and I gave her a nice big smile, big, almost Joker-esque smile. Thought it would be fun instead of giving her like a flirty, sexy smile. I figured I'm going to give her a nice big grin. So hopefully that's working out well.
I gave your mother a nice big grin last night.
Hey, I think you. No, you're good. Ron's here, everybody. Hey, AG, how's it going? I heard you come in on a delay, Ron. Ron?
Yes.
Okay, there you are. It was like a delay.
So, hello, how's it going?
It's going good.
C says, hey.
Yeah, I'm up to I think
AG,
that
Dr. Kaz.
I think that hey may have been for either you
AG.
or AG, yeah.
So, how is everyone's evening?
Well, I think I'm out of trouble, but Jacob's in trouble with Mama. So it's of course he got in trouble this morning, but
What do you do? Are we allowed to talk about it?
uh no. it was nothing. Believe me, you know Jacob. It was nothing you know, nothing horrible, but just him and Bella sometimes have their moments.
So you have some Harley Quinn going on.
Yeah. Got some classic Harley Quinn.
That is the best one.
I think so.
What does everyone else think?
You know, I really think that I don't know anyone who really prefers the newer one, like, enough to like just never want to see the jester jester suit Harley Quinn again. They kind of still like the look that Bruce Timm established. I don't even know who designed the new look, but I think that new look has been around for, okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb, 5 years now. It's been a while. I think it's been longer than you might think. 5 years sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds about right. C said he likes the 90s animated Batman version.
That would be this one, correct?
Correct.
And I believe C is a she.
She said.
Kara.
Kara.
Yeah.
So are you doing this piece for anyone in particular tonight?
No, just for the audience. It is dibbable as of now. I was hoping I would get to color the penguin from last night. I'm going to go ahead and uh, put the blacks in his hair. I didn't on my thumbnail though for YouTube because I didn't get to it on the stream. I didn't do it, so I figured I would stay true to what I, because remember before, some of them I was finishing off um, after the stream, and then the thumbnail showed like this drawing that you don't get to see me working on. And the thumbnails are so tiny to begin with. I got to thinking of that could be confusing to people. I know it would be to me, like, wait a minute, this, where's the rest of the drawing? Where's part two or something? So, whatever level of finish it gets on the stream will, that will influence the thumbnail that I put up. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go back in and add color or gray tone wash to them later. So I was hoping to get to that, but didn't. You weren't in when I said I went and gave blood today, Ron. Well,
I was listening though.
okay. So it'll be, I'm really curious as to what that, if anything, it like I told you before, I'm not really worried about it, but I'm interested.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like too.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure because, usually they'll offer you, they'll be like, oh, do you want a copy of it? And I usually just say, nah, you got it. I don't need it. But I will say this, if anything has changed, like, and I really, anything could happen, right? I'm not going on any medication or anything, but I don't even think that's a concern. It's just, I'm just saying, I even thought the first time after I hadn't gave blood in, I should quit saying give blood. What should I say instead of give blood? Because give blood sounds like I'm going to the Red Cross or something.
Yeah, you're not donating
Blood
blood.
work, blood work.
Blood work.
Yeah, when I did blood work, had something been off, uh, I was not willing to start another medication at that point. If it would have been like, oh, your cholesterol is high, we need to put you on a statin. I'm like, no, I will adjust my eating and we'll take it from there. You can tell a doctor no, right, Ron?
You certainly can.
And now that I know food can be a medicine, I would prefer, and I get it. They would probably say, okay, that's fine, but I want new blood work in 3 months. I'd say that's fine. Let's give it 3 months. Let me change my eating habits, and then let's see what we got. So we won't have a little drop in by Jacob tonight. Of course, you weren't here when he was in the room typing away. It was so funny. I looked up and I saw Jacob Beatty, and he's like, "Hi, Daddy." I was just like, "Hey, Jacob."
I missed it.
Yeah, it was fun. And then he had asked me this morning, uh, the lab that I go to, I always think for some reason they open at 7. They don't open till 7:30. Some I know open like at 5 or 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they know people are working, and they can go in, get their blood drawn, and then they want to eat breakfast because a lot of people are hungry. So I always think this one is every time I've been there, I go at 7, and not that it's been like a lot, but twice a year for the past like 2 years, and once for Jacob. I always think, okay, we're going to be there right at 7 or a little before, and I pull up at 7:30. So by the time I would drive home, I would just have to drive back. It's about a 10-minute drive, maybe a little less, but close enough to where I don't want like 10 people getting ahead of me. Although it goes pretty quick.
So Cara was wanting to know the pen you were just using, was it still a number 1?
Yes, that was still a number 1 car. A number uno.
How many languages can you say number 1 in?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Uno?
1.
1.
All right, that's 2. That counts.
Well, it is English, right?
It sure is.
1. Is that the Queen's English? I tried to stick my jaw out. 1.
All right, we'll give you 2.5.
Since I said it was the Queen's English.
Yeah, of course.
Hmm. I think that's about it.
All right. Not bad.
You mean there's other ways? There's other words for 1 besides just 1?
Nope, I'm pretty sure it's just 1.
I think so too, right? Except for Uno.
Well, you're talking about the card game.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I learned Uno. because I was the one, I had to take a second language in middle school, which back in my day was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, and I took French. Everybody was taking Spanish, and I probably would have been smarter to take Spanish, but I wasn't. I took French because the teacher was really hot. Um, I know that sounded horrible, but a very pretty teacher. So I thought, I'll take this here French, I'm go. And boy, French is a tough language.
So what is number one in French?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I would have thought your second language was binary code.
Yeah, there you go.
1 0 1 0.
There you go. That's right. Okay, there we go. I'm kind of giving her a joke. Did you hear I'm giving her kind of a Joker-esque smile? I thought it would be kind of fun to give her something a little more comical. And most people give her that little sexy, sexy smile or something. I'm going for more of a, I want to say goofy, but I'll say clown Harley. With the nice big Joker type, because she's Joker's babe, right?
Right.
So I'm just kind of enforcing that. Letting it be known. She's kind of doing her Joker smile. That sounds like a song. She's doing her Joker smile.
So Kaz comes in with, je parle français très mal.
Parlez-vous français? See, I do remember that. That's, can you speak French? I believe. I don't know how I passed that class. I mean, that's some tough language to speak. I guess any foreign language is. So Ron, long day?
Every day is a long day.
Well, that is true. Did you say you're gonna maybe come by this weekend? Or you?
Yep.
Okay. Because I had mentioned something to Jacob. I said, hey, Ron's thinking of coming back down this weekend. I think it'll be a better experience because he's not, and I don't know if he just had like a 24-hour bug or something, but I mean he's fine now. Which it really sucks when you're a kid and you have your weekend. Oh, he's got the long weekend because next Monday is Martin Luther King Day.
All right.
So yeah, he'll have Monday off. And it's interesting because today he asked me, and I really didn't know, and then he said, "Yeah, they did." So he said, "Daddy, did they make a museum out of Martin Luther King's home?" And I said, "I don't know, Jacob." And then he said, "Yes, they did." And I said, "How do you know?" I said, "Well, how do you know?" He goes, "Well, they told us that in school today." So
He's testing you.
well, I think he does that sometimes. But I really don't know if it was or wasn't a fact. He could have just said that. Maybe that's what he heard. But I'm not sure. So I just told him. I said, "Well, I said that does happen, on occasion if the house is still standing and the person is somebody of note. And he said, so like if you died, Daddy, this house would be a museum.
Kicking you out and making it a
Yeah,
museum.
yeah. And I was just like, no, I don't think that's the idea, Jacob. But they got,
He's cool.
yeah, he's always thinking of something. Well, I know some of it though. He,
So
he's got a sneaky streak. He uses stall tactics. He'll ask questions, but they're such good questions. I gotta even when I know he's stalling.
mhm.
I have to answer his question because it's a good question. I mean, I'm just like, I can't blow it off because it's like, that's a good question. And it's like, I'll be like, I'm not 100% sure, Jacob. And the first thing he says is, let's ask Siri. The first day I brought home that Alexa thing, and I said, Jacob, you know how you're always asking questions? I said, Siri here can tell you, just about everything on anything. And like the next day, Bella told me he's been asking her everything. And I said, well, that's good. Boy, I was putting this line down very thick because I was hoping this was the black side, and it is, of her mask. That's why I hesitated there for a minute, because I was like, this line doesn't have to be perfect on the inside, but I got to watch my line on the inside. And that's something you learn to do, Ron. You'll learn that, how to, like come in here and, you can make one side, doesn't matter, whatever side you're going to fill in black. But you got to make the line that needs to be clean. That's the side you have to kind of twist the brush to make it work.
All right. It's a good tip for everybody watching.
Yeah. And it's just a matter of, putting the line down, and I call it's kind of like sculpting a line sometimes, but ideally you'd like to like every line just be like, perfect, and then you can fill it in. But if you don't need to, if you know it's going to be black, it can help. It can help a lot. Believe me, it can help. It can help when your hand's not quite steady. Let's see. That's a little wet right here. Let me move some ink around. Don't want that gumming up the works. Let's move down to her. I don't know what these things are called.
So Kara has another great question. She says, what techniques do you use to train yourself to keep your hands steady?
Just the answer to that is just practice. It's the same thing I tell Jacob. He will ask me. And now my standard answer to him is, what do I always tell you, Jacob? And he'll go, practice. And I'll be like, that's right. So really, it's just a matter of repetition and practice. The more you do something, just like anything, you're going to get better at it. I've never really known anyone to get worse at something if they practice at it. Although my chess game was really bad today.
Are you playing the computer or someone else?
Playing some people. Although I played a couple of games this morning while I was just waiting at the house to kill time to go to my 7 o'clock, having my blood drawn, and then it was 7:30. And The first game, I fell asleep, and I mean, not literally, but I mean, I fell asleep, and all of a sudden, this guy is like got me just pinned down everywhere, any place I move, and of course, I just make a move haphazardly, and bang, there goes my queen, and just tumbled. The next one, uh, I was winning just by a piece or two. I made a blunder. Guy took advantage of it. Then he had the upper hand, and I pulled a Ron on him. I backed up to a pawn, and he marched his pawn down to the back of the board, got him a queen, and I couldn't move because my pawn, there was a pawn, and uh, uh, there was a pawn in front of my pawn, and then the king was behind it. So I couldn't go out a square, and I was up against the edge. So everything was blocked. So when he didn't have me in check, but he had me so that I could not make a legal move. And I think, even though it was technically a draw, again, it was like our situation, I wound up getting a few points. Now, it may have been like 3 points, but I'll take them because he should have won that game, just like I should have won.
Well, if you need to feel better about your game, I'm willing. I'm willing to play you.
Oh no, it's just kind of funny because I think I played about 10 games today, and I know I got 2 draws, and I think I'm about 1 game down overall. So that's not horrible. But the 2 draws, one of them was my mistake, the other was the other person's, but that should have been a loss. So I don't feel so bad about that one. Oh, and I was going to tell you that lichess.org, L-I,
Ally, yeah.
I don't know what the LI is for. Do you?
No.
They have a thing, unlike chess.com, you can go down below and play like the little game thing, like forever. When I first got on it the first night, chess.com, you get like so many tactic, like what, 5 tactic games or something. And then they want you to purchase a membership or something. Same thing with that Rush.
Right.
I don't think Lee Chess has the Rush, but they do have and the game can start anywhere. It can start with almost every piece on the board, and then you just have to figure it out. And if you make a wrong move, it just bounces your piece back, and you can play it over and over. I mean, I know I played probably 10, and like I said, it varies. And you might start with almost a full board, and that's already moved out some, and other ones you're like at an end game with only a few pieces.
Well, AG just said he's cooking dinner. We'll be back shortly. Looking good
right.
So far, John.
All right, AG. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I signed up on the lichess.org.
Yeah, you know what? At first, I did not like the interface because even though I like the lighter interface, it's too light. It's too grayish, But I'm used to it now. So when I first signed up on it, I did well. The first day I played quite a bit because they were giving, they were starting you out at 1,500, and I'm like, great. I'm like, I might get lucky and jump up there, but it's been keeping me at an honest somewhere in the upper 900s to, I think I've been up around maybe the 1050, which is nothing to brag about. I'm just saying, I tell you what, you lose a game and it'll drop you some points really, really hard. Are you playing like the 10 10+0 rapid run?
No, I've just been doing some practice and playing some
Okay.
of the puzzle games. So Razmataz24 just came in and says, "Hi, John."
Hey Raz, how you doing? Nice to see you. I think you are a first timer in here, right? Glad to have you. Welcome. So as you can see, when I'm in this area, I can be kind of, this is the stuff you don't like people to see. The ugly inside here where I just drew that X. But it's going to be filled in black. But most of the time people don't see it. They just see the clean finish. So little.
So
Uh-huh.
Raz said, "You bet." I think in regards to his first time, he's always missed your live shows.
Oh, well. So does the PM time work out better for you? I guess it does if you always miss the early ones. I would imagine it would have to. And the air conditioner finally kicked on in my office. It's been
So
one of. Go ahead.
no rain effect of sweat on this one.
What's that?
No
Oh
rain
no,
effect from your sweat.
no. It's just it's just one of those days. Like what are we? Are we in the like mid 60s?
I think so.
Yeah, and in Florida, that's one of those ones where it's like the air here is set for 73, I think, which is usually fine. But when you get these mid 60 days, the building, it, it, I mean, in the summer, this thing's kicking on and off like every 10 minutes, it seems. And it actually has gotten kind of chilly in here. Uh, like where my drawing board is and where Jacob was sitting when you were here, that air will blow like right there. And at my computer desk, it'll maybe sometimes catch me in the back of the neck. But with the way the weather's been going, it just doesn't kick on as often as I would like. Begins to get a little stuffy.
Kara says, "It's so cool watching ugly go to pretty."
Well, thank you.
She was talking about that X out black area.
Yep. That's see now over here where it's red, I have to be a little more precise. Now I am going to throw a little bit of a shadow under this. I don't know what you would call her collar. It might just be a collar. I don't know if it's got a fancy name. I would almost suspect it does. Although it could just be I don't know, a jester suit collar, right? For all I know. Now, another thing that, uh, you know, working this size, in here it's different. When you get around the edges at your, like my finger here, my small finger, which I use, to kind of help a close of a corner to, kind of get in my way. So that's sometimes you'll see me kind of move around the curve in a way that I normally wouldn't have to. So that's something to keep in mind, is what you're working on, the size of it.
Carter
So,
wants to know, do you digital ink at all, or is it all traditional?
no, I also do digital inking. In fact, I used to do work like that for DC's licensing department, and it was done in Adobe Illustrator, so it was vector inking. And I've also done it for Disney World. Um, so very familiar with digital inks. And I will say that, well, I guess it's hard. I guess I can't, but I would, I would tend to believe that since I can ink traditionally, it might make digital inking a little bit easier. I think if somebody starts out and they learn to draw and work digital only, I think them going to traditional tools would be a bit hard, because the digital stuff, has lots of levels of undos, ways to get out of jams that traditional doesn't, and also uh, some of the brushes and stuff have the smoothing on it, so even if your line is crooked or whatever, it's gonna like snap it, into place once you've finished it. So it's gonna smooth it out for you. Ron, have you ever tried digital inks?
I have tried using some of the what is it, the Wacom tablet,
Hmm.
and on Adobe Paint or
Right.
Photoshop.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, I had a difficult time with it.
Well, like I said, I can't really do it on just a Intuos, the tablet. And I have my Cintiq, but it's not set up, and I've had it over a year sitting in my closet. Not that I've had anything to digital ink, but I could do what I'd like to be able to do is like the sketching part, and then print it out either in blue line to ink, or do like I do on some of these, is do a sketch and then clean it up when I put it on the actual board or paper I'm gonna ink and or color it on.
Well, I found that I tried it once or twice, and so I didn't really practice it. Didn't give it
Mhm.
an honest run. It just seemed easier to draw with pencils, and
Yeah, like I said, you know, I think the people that learn to do digital, they're very good. I don't know how they are with traditional media. I think if you come from traditional media background, I think it's easier to adapt into the digital workflow. And see, like on this Harlequin, you know, basically what I did here, this is my loose sketch, and I did the eyes were a bit close together. I I did like the whole smile, half the nose. I flopped this over, and then I traced it off, but I made sure that I put the eyes just a little bit further apart. So adjustments were still being made. But it's really interesting the mistakes I can see in a drawing when I see it like straight up on a monitor that I miss no matter how many times I look at it on my drawing board or flipping it over, looking at it in reverse. It's frustrating to say the least, but it happens. Mike Zeck and I always notice that we'll both, one of our pet peeves that happens to us both, and yeah, it still happens to people like Mike Zeck, is you'll do a drawing and it's not until after I've inked it or something we'll both notice that one eye is a little bit higher than the other. It's like, it's like probably a lot of the general public's not going to notice it unless it's like way off, which it's never like that far off. But it's enough that him and I can see it, and go like, that eye's just a tad high. And it's the great thing about working with Mike, like even at conventions, is we take our convention sketches fairly seriously. He'll show it to me. He'll say, you got any questions, or he'll say, hey, leave this part open because sometimes we'll go in with a Prismacolor black pencil and add a little shading or even a Copic marker or something. So we have a little discussion sometimes about even a convention sketch, which, that's what we used to do on pages. He'd go over and, he might tell me he's looking for, something specific in a panel or a page or something, texture. It's like, hey, can you roughen this up a bit? I kind of indicated it with pencil, but I'd rather have like, if you can do like, he'll ask me like, can you get a little dry brush going here or something? Be like, yeah, I can get it.
So what is the next con where the two of you are together? Is it Dallas?
Yeah, it'll be that's both of our first show of the year, and we'll both be at the Dallas show on February 2nd and 3rd. So make sure if you're in the Dallas area to come out and see us. We did a show last year. It was a good little show. It's a 2-day show. People that run it are comics fans, and it's really nice. You know what happened, Ron?
Regarding what?
Jacob.
Oh, this morning? I have an idea. Razzmatazz is back, Any travels to California for 2019, John?
What part of California?
Or are you going to any part?
No.
Well, then that's a no.
Well, not yet. I mean, there's still a long time, but I did the LA show in 2017. Was hoping to get back there this year, but that didn't happen. They changed. It was that Stan Lee Comic Con. I think Stan was letting them use his name to boost it, and he was, he would appear there.
Raz is by the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh no. And I know that the Zach and I did the first San Francisco con that the same people that put on the Tampa Bay Comic Con, the Indiana Comic Con, a few other shows that they've just started, and that I don't know if Razzmatazz was there at the first one they did. I'm trying to remember. That may have been 2016 maybe, or 2017. It was a great show. I mean, it was fantastic. It was in a hotel. They couldn't get is it the Moscone Center? I'm just guessing here. Raz will probably be able to. But basically what happened is they don't want anything but tech shows out there in San Fran now. They don't want quote consumer shows, which they considered the comic show. So even though the attendance and everything was great for the show, they just didn't want it. But we are talking about the most expensive city in the world to live in now. So I guess they get what they want, right? Because there is some crazy money out there. Speaking of crazy money, wouldn't you like to be Jeff Bezos' wife about now?
No, I could just go with Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, listen, Kara wants to know if you're going to be doing any cons in Missouri or Kansas.
Actually, I'm not sure about that, but I think I'm going to be doing one. I'm pretty sure I just got booked for one today in Iowa. It's called the Planet Funk Con. I have no idea. All I know is Renee sent me an email and said something about it. So, and that's a 3-day show in after Heroes Con, the weekend after.
Now, do you have any place where people can go to see what your upcoming schedule is going to be?
I have my website, but I haven't put my appearance dates up yet. So I need to do that. There's a few that I'm not 100% sure of. So, and normally what I like to do is wait till the show announces me, because I don't want to like jump the gun and then them get angry that, you know, I'm posting like show appearances before they're putting up their guest list. So sometimes it's just a waiting game. I have to wait until I see them put me up on Facebook or Twitter or something. And then I'm like, okay, I guess it's, they're letting their guest list out now, so it's okay. So that Iowa one, that might be, and I'm trying to even think is if that. Well, I know that Zach and I will also be doing a show in New Mexico. So I don't know. I'm trying to remember exactly, and it will be Albuquerque, and it's in August, that show. And I'm trying to remember where Missouri fits in. It's more kind of really in the middle, right? I don't know if it'd be closer to New Mexico or closer to Iowa, or, you know, I'd have to pull a map out.
Kara says, "Yep, it's closer to Iowa."
All right. Then June 21st, 22nd, 23rd. They, and I have no idea. Again, it's in a city. They call it the Quad Cities or something. I have no idea. That means nothing to me except, where my final destination in Iowa will be. But it is June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Had that little hair come up on this brush again. In fact, there it is. Can I get it? I'm going to have to kill this brush soon. Come on, that makes you work now, don't it? You don't want me to pull out a new one. You want to stay in my hand where I'm caressing you and inking with you. Ron, did you stop by that Wawa on your way home last week?
I did.
Did you get you a $1 cup of coffee?
No, I went with
Energy drink.
Diet Pepsi.
No Pepsi Zero?
That was probably the one. Yeah, the black one.
Yeah. The one with the extra sugar. Oh, no, it's a zero sugar, but extra caffeine.
Yes.
I'm thinking of, what was it called? Jolt soda.
Oh, I remember.
You remember that? Yeah.
I remember being a kid trying that and getting chest pain. Stop drinking that.
I remember I was buying Monster energy drinks back, when they first were coming out. I tried one, and I remember the lady at the convenience store trying to talk me out of buying them, that it could kill me. And I'm like, she's like, no, it's true. And I said, well, I've heard of incidents. I said, but I said, the incidents that I've heard about have been where it's been a lot of college kids or younger kids that will drink 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 of them to
stay up for 48 hours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just don't drink them one at a time. They'll slam all of them, and then, you know, then they'll get those heart palpitations until the heart like pops out of their chest or something, or they go into a what would the term be, Ron? A coronary. What is it when your heart like uh, not stops beating, but you know,
Trying to
when
figure
it
out what you're trying to ask me.
when it's beating too fast and
SVT?
no.
Supraventricular tachycardia.
Oh boy, that's a big word I never heard of.
It beats real fast.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Did you know 2009 Red Bulls in Germany got pulled because of trace amounts of cocaine?
Really? No, I didn't.
That was in 2009.
Wow. Now, is that listed in the ingredients?
I don't think it was.
Gee, I guess it was random testing that they found it. You know, now that's interesting because I did not hear about that, but did you know about that when it happened, or is this something you learned about later?
I remember hearing about it when they got pulled way back then.
And did it affect the market here? Did they like stop it here and then
Sales went up.
I was just gonna say that doesn't surprise me.
No, America was like, what, cocaine?
Well, Coca-Cola.
They doubled down.
Yeah. Coca-Cola used to have Coke in it. Hence the name.
So Razzmatazz says, what's your favorite part of the process? The rough sketch, the line work, the inking, the coloring, whatever.
I like and this may sound like a corny answer, but I kind of do like parts of each step of the process. Um, I guess my favorite part is when I finish a piece and I feel that it's successful because for me, um, it's it's something that not every piece I feel really satisfied with, and even the ones that I am satisfied with, usually within a couple of weeks or a month or so, I can look back and, which is a good thing when you can see that growth, and I can go, wow, it would have been so much better if I would have just done this instead of that. Um, so yeah, I mean, I kind of like doing the whole process. That's why, as much of a fan of inking, because I mean, I didn't set out, and I don't think anybody does. Well, maybe in this day and age they do, which could not be the best idea unless it's just going to be like a hobby, or you're gonna is set out to be an inker, because these days most pencilers, or a lot of them, are inking their own work. Because that's just the way they're kind of being trained, and a lot of it is due to digital tools, and also I think a lot of it is due to um, the way comics are produced and the way the timelines are not as strict as like when I got in 1980. Deadlines were more important than anything. You missed a deadline, you literally, your job was, you might be taken off a book. They might give you a warning, or they might just say, you know what, we're going to find someone that can turn a book in on time. So like I said, as much as I like the inking process, and I love working with other pencilers because it's fun to ink over their work and see what I can kind of bring to it, if anything. Especially when the pencils aren't that tight. When they're too tight, they kind of corral you in, and you don't have a lot of room to kind of embellish and put your own style or feel to a piece. And that's not fun. The fun ones are when a penciler gives you enough wiggle room to where you can interpret um, their line work and, kind of, if you have a bit of a style or things that you like to do, ways you like to interpret lines, you can add that in. Um, and I will clarify that the penciler does not get angry because they've penciled it and they know that they've went loose so that you can have that freedom. As long as the finished product, is satisfactory to, well, number one, your editor, but I think kind of probably more important is the penciler that you're working on. If you're an inker, you satisfy them. If they're happy, uh, that's kind of how the pecking order in comics goes. Although I think about now, the writers are kind of they've got the keys to the car right now. So to continue that story, that's why I feel, for myself, I like doing the complete thing from the ground up. I don't really know how to pencil for anybody to ink except myself. Um, I'm kind of like Ron. I like to get to the inking. So there are actually times where, and I think a lot of it is the drawings that get me in trouble are the ones that I don't spend enough time on the drawing, because I want to get to the inking because the concept looks great and I want to finish it. I want to see the finished product. And usually those are the ones in the long run that wind up coming back. And although I have to say that Captain America, I had a real solid drawing. I mean, real solid. But for some reason, it just wasn't. I was really off on that one. I can't tell you why. It just wasn't happening. And so I put it away for, I don't know if it was the following week, at least 3 or 4 days, I think. I tried it twice in a row, actually 3 times, because I did one off camera and it just was, it wasn't hitting the spot. And Ron has 3 iterations of it. and I,
27.
27. And I actually told Ron on each one what I didn't like about it, and so he knows, I usually I just say, I don't like it, and I don't point out why I don't like it. But since Ron is learning under me, I figure I need to tell him so he can kind of look at it and see what I didn't like and why I decided to not put it out there. And now that's probably all he can see when he looks at those is like, man, why did he do that?
Nah, listen, Carl wants to know, how quickly did you have to have a full comic inked?
It was not as bad as it seems, but it kind of is when you factor in that you're also working weekends. But a month, 30 days for a 22-page book. But I am not, as you can tell, I am not the fastest worker, but I am diligent, I guess, and I will put in the hours needed. I can speed up, like when I was inking every day on a monthly book. Uh, the the memory muscle in my hand, and just being able to sit down and not, like on this one, you saw me take out a a template and do these little ball things. And when you're working on something constantly, I mean, like literally every day for, 10 to 14 hours a day, you don't, you're getting enough warm up. I could wake up the next day, go sit down, pick up a brush, and bang. Now, there were those oddball days where I would sit down and it seemed like everything, that I had learned was gone. And those are the days that are, I call them kind of wasted days, because you keep fighting and fighting and fighting. And the best thing to do is just put it down and go do something else. But the hard part is you're on a deadline, so you got to produce. And eventually, if you stick with it, I found that you'll get some results. You may not like them as much as, say, the day before, but there's a book, and other people have mentioned it, and I got the abbreviated, or I forget what they call them. It's kind of like a Cliff Notes version, because even the book itself was was not that big. But I just figured, okay, let me get the main points. I need to go reread it again because it's really what I need. But right now, my schedule really does not allow it because I'm bouncing all over the place. It's called Deep Work, and it talks about the state of you have a peak time of producing work. And I think the guy, it seems like I kind of heard this before. He uses the analogy of surfing and riding a wave. That when you catch that wave, you ride it until the wave is no longer there, and then once the wave is gone, your you know your frame of mind, your mindset, it's gone. And I find that to be true. It takes a while to get in that deep work frame of mind. It kind of differs for everybody, but I would say what you basically really have to do is shut everything out if you can, like close down your email, close down notifications on your phone. Uh, yeah, you kind of have to let the phone stay open for any emergency phone calls or something like that. A friend of mine who's a designer calls it mole mode. And it's like when he buries himself underground like a mole and just has to get busy on stuff. And that's when he just unplugs from the world and gets busy on something that has a really hard deadline. So uh, that's what deep work is basically about. It's about the guy explaining how your mind can actually, and I know exactly what he's talking about because I've been there. Everything's going along great, and you get up to walk to the mailbox or the door knocks or something. You're like 2 or 3 hours in, and you just feel like magic. It's like everything is clicking. And if once you get out of that deep state of concentration and where you're riding that wave, then it's really hard to get back to it. So I think he says that you have about, out of your whole day, you have 3 to 5 hours total that are going to be your peak production. And you can still produce in the other hours. It's just he's talking like extremely peak producing something, or your work or whatever. And then it kind of disappears on you. You can work through it, but it's you're gonna notice that you begin to start fighting certain things that you know earlier in the day or earlier in your work time that were coming a little easier. You can actually on Amazon, I think they have a little, sometimes I'll look at a book and I'll skim it just to see. And that's when I heard about this book, they had it. And I said, well, this sounds interesting.
Well, AG is back. He says he's done with dinner. It's looking good.
Thanks, AG. Appreciate it. I think I need to get this center line on her head and make sure it's good and dry and then fill in the blacks.
Razmataz asks, how did you get started or break into the industry? What's one advice that you were told that still holds true today?
Good question, because the business has changed so much from when I got in. When I got in, editors were still going to conventions to actually look for people to hire. I don't think that's so much the way it's done in today's market. I think a lot of people are discovered online. But a couple pieces of advice would be, and again, I've seen people blow deadlines big time, and this is in today's market. And, it's like no big deal. In fact, I had heard, and this has been a while ago, and I don't even know what the newer stuff is, but I heard that because I don't even think there's that many people that actually are on monthly books anymore. Like I was. I mean, when I got on a monthly book, that editor was hoping that, he would get 2 years, maybe 3 of a consistent team, right? Writer, penciler, inker, so that those people were in place. He didn't have to worry about it. You start to click and he can relax and know that he's put a good team together. Nowadays, I think, that's kind of not the business model of comics. I think it's do 4 or 6 issues of something so they can trade paperback and then they move you around. I know there are exceptions to that, but that seems to be what I'm seeing. So I would say, definitely though, meet your deadlines. Even if it doesn't matter, it's going to be better for you in the long run. And the second one is, continue to hone your craft, because I know if my work was still at the level when I actually started getting professional work, if it had not grown any, I probably would have been left behind, because that's, it's almost like a joke, but it was true. Marvel, when I got in 1980, Marvel was the place you still wanted to be. DC was always number 2, and they seemed to be content there, because every time they started edging up in sales on Marvel, it seemed like they would freeze because they didn't know what the next move was, because they were just trying to do what Marvel did. So Jim Shooter told me, he gave me some work, a little bit of work, but nothing steady. He said, he goes, you're good enough. Go over to DC, get some steady work, get good, and then we're going to hire you. And it's like, if you see Jim at a convention or something, I've still heard him tell that story, that he would give people that advice. And it wasn't him just being mean or anything. It was actually, I kind of think it was probably good advice, because, it almost was like, out of the 2 major league teams, and I'm not good with baseball, but let's just say Who was it that went the longest? Is it who still hasn't won a World Series in forever, Ron? Is it did the White Sox? Did they win or did they break I know the Cubs did.
They've recently won, I thought.
Okay, maybe they did, but whatever. So it's like you could either play for the Yankees, being Marvel, always winning, or, but Jim would say, go play for this team. It's almost like the minor league. You're going to be in the minors and then we're going to bring you up. So it was almost like DC was the training ground. And then when you'd get the call from Marvel, you kind of knew that, they'd had their eye on you or they'd already knew of your work and they were just waiting to see you progress over there. And I think they also knew for the most part, unless you were on, let's say, Batman or Superman at that time, the marquee characters, maybe even Wonder Woman, that, if they offered you a book at Marvel, most of the time you're going to take it. That's just me. Maybe I'm rewriting history, but that's kind of the way it seemed to feel to me.
Oh, for your baseball question, currently Cleveland Indians.
Wow, how long?
They're still now at 1948 was their last World Series because the Cubs just finally won, right?
I think so, yeah.
Then you've got Texas Rangers who never won, Milwaukee Brewers who never won, and San Diego Padres because they were all established in the 60s, the teams.
Yeah, that's what I figured is they weren't as old as some of the teams I was mentioning there, but I know that Boston went forever too before and now they've won a few World Series since they got the curse off of them. And not to bring up Boston or the whole New Hampshire area. But I hope this week is it the Cardinals?
Oh, it's Kansas, the Chiefs.
Oh yeah. And you know what? It's being played at the Chiefs Stadium. Yeah, because
Arrowhead.
That might be a little tough. That might be a tough game.
And so the Chiefs are the favorite right now.
That's what I'm thinking because the Chiefs, I think, had a good season. I'm not going to pretend but I think they ended up at 12-4, maybe a little better, maybe 13-3. I'll tell you what broke my heart is Seattle losing to Dallas. Wasn't it Dallas that beat them in the playoffs?
I don't know who beat them, but yeah, it was 12-4 for Kansas.
Yeah, okay. I knew it was one or the other, and the Patriots got a little sloppy there at the end. They were what were they, 11-5 or 10-6? But of course,
they didn't have to compete with anybody in their division.
Well, that's what I was going to say. But of course, look at the look at the rest of what we did and what Miami should have done. Even those first 3 games wasn't enough padding to give us 500 run. I hang my head.
Although the Patriots really took it to them last weekend, or 20 points ahead almost.
Was it? You mean just this past weekend?
Yeah, the Chargers.
Yeah. I saw it. I saw the score when it was like 7-14 or something, and I was like, okay, and it was in the second. I was like, that's not a problem. You can be down a touchdown. I just asked my phone for the NFL scores, and that came up, and of course, so it didn't tell me when they scored or anything. And I was like, all right, that's not bad. And then the next time I looked at it, it was like they were 3 touchdowns or more behind, maybe 4. So hopefully that game blew them out, made them tired. Because
It's gonna be a good game.
Yeah, and didn't the Chargers did they score another touchdown, or was it still just like 30 something to 7?
They ended at 20.
Oh, that's right.
21.
Yeah, it was 21. Now I don't know if those were just gimme touchdowns to run some clock out.
No, the Patriots were running their backup quarterback. They had Brady chilling.
Okay. Dang, see. They're a little smarter than I always give them credit for.
So 2002 was Super Bowl of it was the Rams and the Patriots, and it could wind up being that again.
Yeah. Or it could wind up being the Chiefs. Chiefs haven't been in a while. Now, when do you think Atlanta will get back in? Because that was their first time in and they had that game won. They had that game won. At halftime, they had it won. Right? Am I thinking of the right game?
They went into halftime ahead by a lot.
But I think I think 21. They went in
21-3 or something.
Yeah, and they did not know how to hold the lead for another half. I mean, they just completely collapsed.
Completely.
And I kind of felt bad for them, but when I saw that they completely abandoned what gave them that, they went to the whole prevent defense and we'll give you a few yards here and pretty soon someone's going to break one of those plays open. And sure enough, there it was happening again and again and again. And then suddenly you're like, oh, what did we do? We're screwed. Yes, you are.
Well, at least they never tried to pass the ball on the second down at the goal line with the best running back in the league.
Yeah, right? And what was it about Pete Carroll? They said that he called the plays and that I know that and this was like before the game. I was reading about, how he should be coach of the year maybe because of what he did in Seattle, and he had struggled in other markets and he was successful there. And one of his things was that I think it may have been a contractual thing that, he had put in there that nobody could overturn any play he called. So, Russell Wilson didn't change that call.
He wouldn't have been playing after that.
Even if he would have ran it in himself, man, you know what? He should have scrambled around and ran it in himself and said, "Well, coach, I couldn't throw it. I had to scramble and then I had to run." That
Kara says the Patriots wanted it more.
It was a bonehead play, is what it was.
It was a horrible call. Worst call of the year.
You know what? It was almost like, how much money did he have on that game? What coach would call that play? One with some financial interest in the outcome of his team losing. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just saying it kind of was suspicious. And when they did that, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Even the Patriots thought, the guy's going to run it.
Right. He outthought himself.
Yeah. And a back-to-back Super Bowl win. All right, peeps. I believe the ink is done on Harlequin. And all at 9:15.
Looking very good.
Yeah, fun. Can you hear that, Ron? That's me tapping the ink out of my brush.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. It's these little mason jars I keep over here, and I'm just tapping it. So when I bring it across my other stuff, hopefully it doesn't like bloop, drip water.
That was Bella ringing the dinner bell.
No, see, like I said, that's why I said, hey, could we do 7? Because I'd kind of, well, yesterday I wasn't going to eat on purpose. So the 6 o'clock was okay, but I just felt like I could probably do 7, because if I'm gonna stop at the black and white, and then if no one pushes me further, thank you, Raz. Thank you, C. Appreciate the compliments. I see some thumbs up there in the stream. So I don't know, those of you who are new, we do have a dibs thing, and I kind of switched it a little bit. So black and white dibs right now, the piece of art, it's 6 by 8 inches, is $50. Postage included. After that, if I was to go with gray tones on it, it goes up $10. After that, full color, it's $100. So if it stays on my board and nobody picks it up, then I will probably eventually color these. Like, I have the one from last night. For those of you who may not have seen it, the penguin. I'm going to go ahead and do blacks in his hair and color this one up too, because I just think it's going to look very nice. And I'm going to color up Harlequin eventually. But yeah, so 9:15, feeling good. Got to go home, got to see my wife and son for a little bit, and got this done. So far, the PM has worked out better, not in a financial sense because nobody's picked one up, but that's fine. But it's worked out better for me as far as, I think, audience, people coming in. They're more than the 7 a.m.s. I know that's tough for a lot of people for various reasons. So yeah, I mean, what I got coming up tomorrow, I think I'm saving Joker maybe for Friday, a Joker Friday. So that would mean, I don't have my list. Penguin, Harlequin.
So you have the Catwoman and Riddler left?
Oh yeah, so Riddler will be tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be doing the Riddler. Catwoman will be Thursday, and Joker will be Friday. And I see Raz says, let's see, what was your favorite scene in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? I don't know. There were a lot of good scenes in that movie. Trying to think. The animation was so well done. That's one movie I probably really need to see again, and I need to see it not in 3D, because I thought it would be a little better in 3D, but I don't think, it's so cool. It's almost 3D without those glasses you have to wear, and since I already wear glasses, it's like I'm wearing a double set. So that really sucks. Hey, AG, I appreciate you sharing the chat, and that's fine. I totally understand. Excuse me. Um, but when you share something like this, it's good because, with all the all that stuff out there, what it does help me with is like the YouTube algorithm, so that these videos will pop up when somebody's watching another comic artist or cartoonist work or something. It'll be, how they recommend, how YouTube will recommend similar videos. So, if it gets, if my stream gets traction, then it's all good, man. And I do appreciate it very much. But I have noticed, and it's only been from yesterday. Uh, Although the one I did the free head sketches, and I owe two, one to Tater and one to Dr. Kaz, and I'll be getting on those again. It's something I wanted to get to today, and telling you, this running around is killing me, Ron. I swear, I'm just gonna become an Uber driver, and then when Bella, I'll just, I'll just take the Uber app. You can shut down when you want to take a break. I'll just
Hmm.
go get it. I'll just go get her, drive her back home, and then just put it back on. I should just Uber all day. I
Uber and Uber Eats.
well, I don't know if can you do both.
Sure, why not?
I don't know if the Uber Eats is good as the. I really don't feel like taking the time to go in and pick up someone's order and do all that. But I have seen a lot of people when I Uber out to the airport. They'll be doing both Uber and Lyft. And I've asked a few, do they mind? And they're like, well, they don't know. If I want to do Uber, I turn on, I turn on Uber. If I'm not getting any, I just, maybe Lyft's got something. So yeah, I guess you can turn it on and off. But okay, so I'm gonna let this sit here and dry. Uh, I will probably give it a scan in the morning, post it up, make a thumbnail of it, put it on my Twitter account, and tomorrow night, if you can make it, I think I'm going to stick with 7 because it gave me a chance to go home for a couple hours and have dinner, see my wife and son, get yelled at. Oh, I'm gonna get killed, Ron. One day when Bella's bored, she's gonna let me see what John's doing down there.
Well,
Nah.
she's gonna have a lot of videos to catch up on.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Not to sound morbid, but when I'm gone, Jacob will have Dad doing a lot of drawing to watch, right?
Right.
And I'm not really seriously. That's not a morbid thing. I think it's a loving thing. I'm doing it. I'm doing it for my son. I love you, Jacob. There. See? Now, if he hears this one sometime in the future, I almost said in the past, in the future. Hey, thank you, Raz. Thank you, C. Appreciate you all dropping in. Appreciate everybody that dropped in, and appreciate you people that are going to watch this when you have a chance to. I understand how it is when you have a busy schedule and you don't have a chance to, um, attend a live stream. At least, the great thing about it is it's there to watch until I guess YouTube either takes it down or decides that they're using too much bandwidth to continue their, just letting people like myself broadcast for as long as I want to on pretty much their dime. All I need is a microphone, a camera, and a computer, and internet. So I guess there's a little bit more involved. All right, thank you, Ron. So without further ado, I guess I can get out of here, or I could clean up. It'll be a little bit after 9, but get home, get some rest, get back here tomorrow morning around 5:15 in the morning, and I have some commission pieces I need to jump on, and then get the Riddler piece ready to ink. Ron, you on for tomorrow night, 7 o'clock?
Same channel.
All right, buddy. You know what? I think that link that I send you is like my actual Google Hangout link. I think if it's disconnected, I really think it's the same one. I'm not 100% sure, but see, I think like right now, if you were to hang out, you could use that link to come back in. But I think if I start a new one, I think it's just my one that, hey, good night, AG. Have a good one, buddy. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for sure. Take care. All right. I guess I'm going to stop this. Ron and I can chat a little bit
Yep.
offline, so that we're not just killing extra minutes and boring people, which is not a good thing to do. It's a way to lose viewers. So thanks again, and see you all tomorrow. Take care and have a good evening. We're going to go out, Ron. I'll let you know when we're gone. Hey, thank you, Dr. Kaz. Be talking to you soon, all right?